Hello and welcome to the Your Revolution podcast. The Your Revolution podcast is a collaboration between Revolution Personal and Performance Training in Melbourne and the Me Project. The purpose of the Your Revolution podcast is to inspire you on your mission of betterment. Each week on the podcast, you'll meet game changers who have created extraordinary lives, and you'll listen to stories and lessons to empower you to make the changes necessary to your life. The Your Revolution podcast is committed to fitness, health, nutrition, mindset, community, education, empowerment, and betterment, and we hope that you can take what you learn here and apply it to your very own revolution.
Okay, welcome to episode 99 of the Your Revolution podcast with your host, Luke Scott. As with every week, don't forget to head over to revopt.com.au/podcast for all of the behind the scenes content from this episode. Once again, that's revopt.com.au/podcast. This month, once again, as with last month, we have a 2-week fundamentals of weightlifting program available from my coach and also the coach of today's guest. Make sure you head across and give that download a go if you're looking to get started at learning the fundamentals of weightlifting. This is a great resource and will help you to sink your teeth into what it's all about. Today's guest on episode 99 of the Your Revolution podcast is Lynda Edwards. I'm going to let Lynda give you a little more detail on who she is and where she's come from. And I'm wanting to focus on her today as a little bit of a difference to our regular guests and someone who's going to be more reflective of the direction of this podcast as we move forward. Whilst Lynda is a personal trainer and business owner, as many of our guests in the past have been, the main reason I wanted to get Lynda on the podcast is because she's like everyone else in terms of having a life away from performance and is yet managing to push herself at the highest level. Lynda is the owner of Grinch Fit in Pakenham, Victoria, a personal training business. She's a wife, a mum, and a weightlifter. So Lynda, in your own words, give us a little bit of a rundown of who you are.
Oh, I think you just said it. So a wife, a mum, a PT, pretty crazy lady, like challenges a lot.
Excellent.
Very determined person.
Beautiful. So first and foremost, how did you get into weightlifting?
So where do most people start? I had never ever picked up a barbell in my life until I went and found out what CrossFit was in 2013.
Yep.
And from there, in 2014, Lester came and did a 2-day seminar on snatch and clean and jerk. And I thought I'd like to learn more about this because that's what mainly intrigued me in CrossFit, even though I'd never picked up a barbell.
Yeah. So never been part of any sort of structured weightlifting or power sport before 2013?
Nope.
Yeah. And what was maybe not the last competition so everyone knows a little bit more about you. Auckland last year, you competed at an international level. That was your first international competition?
First one ever.
Yeah, and that was the World Masters
Games
in Auckland last year. How did you go and how was that experience?
That was nerve-wracking.
Yeah.
Especially since it was my first. And I lifted late, so there was a whole combination of things that I had to learn.
Yeah.
I came fourth.
First competition internationally, you came fourth. Yeah.
Not my best lifts, but a big learning curve for me.
For sure. So you've gone from knowing nothing about weightlifting in 2013 to competing, that was end of 2017.
Yeah. Competing
internationally. Bit of a whirlwind sort of adventure over that period.
Whirlwind.
What have you found most challenging?
In lifting?
Yeah.
Mental.
Yeah.
The mental part of it.
Yeah.
You have to talk to yourself all the time.
Yeah. And what are the sort of techniques and ways that you can talk yourself into a good performance when maybe things get that little bit nerve-wracking?
I've got to breathe.
Yeah.
I've got to stop and I've got to breathe and I've got to think about why I'm there.
Yeah. So
I've just got to relax a bit, which is really hard.
And so that's all of the technical side of, say, weightlifting. Mm. And one of the main reasons I wanted to interview you were it's a sport that definitely takes a lot of dedication in terms of the training.
Yeah.
Like as well as much as I do, you miss a day, your performance will suffer. You miss a week, your performance will suffer.
Yeah.
How do you fit that training volume in with your busy work and life outside of training?
So last year was probably my hardest year, going international and into some big masters comps.
Yeah.
At one point I was training at 8 o'clock at night and finishing at 10.
Yeah.
And then eating in bed and then up, and or I was squeezing them in really quickly in between classes and clients.
Yeah. We're finding your quality of training was starting to suffer as a result.
I don't think the quality was, but I was not warming up properly and stuff, so I kept getting injured.
Yeah.
That's probably what came out of it the most.
Yeah. And you fixed that into this year?
Yeah.
How?
So I've had to cut some hours and Lester's split my program up a bit more so that I can fit a warm-up in, get the job done properly, and then, still carry on without getting injured. I've also started to eat better.
Yeah.
That's a biggie. That's a really hard one, especially for women.
Yeah.
And
69 kilo class? That's right.
Under 69.
And do you find, so for me at the moment, I'm pushing my hardest to get my weight up.
Yes.
For you, is it about bringing your weight down for competition?
Up.
Yeah, so that you stay competitive in amongst other lifters that maybe have to do the opposite, drop a couple of kilos coming into competition.
Yeah.
So what have you had to do with your diet to get the best out of your performance?
I've actually had to learn to eat more. Yeah. So I've always eaten regularly. I just haven't eaten a lot regularly. So I've had to make portion sizes bigger.
Yeah.
Yeah. And more like rice and stuff like that. I have a really fast metabolism, so that's probably the hardest thing for me.
And is that resulting now in better weight management, better performance?
Yeah, better performance.
How many kilos are we talking?
Tired. So I've put on 2 kilos of muscle. Yeah. And my lifts.
Yeah. What about on the bar?
On the bar, I've made 6 kilos clean jerk. Yeah.
Huge.
Yeah, huge difference.
Snatch as well?
Snatches 4.
So 10 kilos overall, 2 kilos of body weight.
Yeah.
Pretty impressive. So all of that comes back to, I don't think I've ever spoken to you about this, but my wife has spoken to your husband about this. You have 5 kids, is that right?
So 5 altogether, yes. Not 5 on my own.
Yeah, but a family of 5.
5, yes.
So managing a family of 5, I've got 2 children and I know how challenging that is. Managing a family of 5 children in amongst 2 hours of training a day, in amongst running a business, how do you do it?
Time management.
Yeah.
That was another thing I had to learn.
Yeah.
Aren't enough hours in the day.
Yeah.
My kids are a bit older now, so it's a little bit easier. They're also really independent, so I've taught them to cook.
Taught them to be independent. Cook for you?
No. Yeah. No, I wish. That's the occasional. Yeah. But no, they're very independent kids, so it's been a bit easier. But yeah, I had to learn. I had to learn to go to bed earlier. I had to learn to get up earlier. I mean, I've always been an early riser, but just drained. I got drained for a while there.
What do they think about you lifting crazy weights?
They think it's crazy. They love it.
They're impressed by it?
They tell everyone.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Your biggest fans?
Yep. Biggest fans.
And so now competing at a master's level is your main focus. You also compete in the open classification.
Yeah.
Yeah. And you're, from my understanding, pretty competitive.
Yes.
And I'm once again asking a lady this is not generally, this is part of the topic. So the only reason 38, is that right?
Yes, I'm 38.
38. So competing in the Masters at 38, 5 people at home who are under your care, maybe 6. I know my wife would think she has, an extra
That's
one.
the biggest chart.
Yeah. And competing against people potentially half your age, potentially 20 years younger. Just want to let that sink in for a little bit for anybody listening. But it's pretty impressive. Once again, that's why I wanted to get you on here, to talk about how you can juggle these type of priorities, how if things really are part of your priorities, you'll make them work.
Yeah.
What are the main things? So food, one of the big things, time management, the people at home probably understanding what's a priority for you. Yeah. Is that a big thing for you? Yeah. Like having your children understand that this is something that's a big...
Yeah, so it's something they had to learn too. Yeah. Like I couldn't be there all the time anymore. So, it might sound bad to some people, but to me, it's teaching them that what they want to go after, do you know?
Teaching them the discipline of the training as well. And
yeah. You know, if you want something bad, you have to go for it. You have to, change your whole life pretty much and go for what you want.
Yeah.
So it takes discipline. It really does.
And to be one of the best in Australia, at least, and obviously now competing at an international level, it takes a lot of focus and dedication, obviously.
Yeah.
So I've seen you train a lot of the times here in the gym when I'm here. We're at Southeast or TG Strength at the moment as we are doing this interview. I've just finished the session myself. So I've seen Lynda train quite a little bit, and I volunteered at a comp recently and remember watching, after you completing all of your snatches, I remember watching your very first clean and jerk. And I was sitting beside the platform loading the bar, and I knew how you, how you performed and how your technique worked. But I remember watching your very first clean and jerk and thinking that something had gone horribly wrong when you squat jerked the bar.
Oh.
I saw you drop on the bar. I thought, oh fuck, she's dropped the bar here. And it's actually, so for those listening who know a little bit about weightlifting technique, generally a clean and jerk is a split stance movement as you're pressing the bar above your head, I guess. But Lynda has a really unique, not quite unique, but not uncommon, untypical technique where she squat jerks the bar above her head. That's something that I find incredibly difficult and something that takes a fair bit of mobility and technique to do. Where does that come from? And how long has that taken you to perfect?
Started December 2016. Had to try and perfect it somewhat before I went to New Zealand in April 2017.
Well, no, only 4 months to get it right.
Yep. And so then from then, Lester and I have been slowly just tweaking, just the technique. So it's taken, so then October 2017 was my first biggest PB in clean and squat jerk.
And how much more are you lifting with that as opposed to, say, a split stance?
8 kilos.
Yeah, so significantly better for you.
Mm-hmm.
And why?
I don't know what it is really.
Probably should ask the boss.
Yeah, because I'm extremely mobile and in the split jerk, my hips get too twisted.
Okay.
So in a squat jerk, as not for many people, I'm steady.
Yeah. Whereas that split stance, you're rotating, you're losing strength. Were you getting injured as a result?
Yeah.
Okay.
So the injury that I'm trying to keep in check now is from split jerking.
Which is?
In my hip. Yeah. So it's like the piriformis.
Right.
It just keeps
twisting. You don't get that issue when you're more balanced. Makes sense.
Yeah.
He knows what he's doing.
Yeah.
So if anyone wanted to see that, they can find you on Instagram. There's some videos of you doing that, which is at GrinchFit.
Yes.
And the same on Facebook. So once again, we'll come back to what Lynda does for work. So she's a personal trainer based in Pakenham.
Mm-hmm.
I might be sending one of my family members your way, hopefully. We'll see how we go.
Oh, that's exciting.
So on a day-to-day basis, what are the type of people that you work with? Are they weightlifters or are they your general population? Are they
general population?
Yep. And how do they react to your performance and what you do outside of the time training them?
So I don't think I really noticed at first, but I absolutely inspire them. So I've had some really wonderful cards come my way from my clients just saying, thank you for inspiring me, So even though they're not at anywhere near that level of or wanting to, just the drive that they get from it is it's awesome. I love it.
And are they saying that the general population, most of the things they're working towards are just general weight loss?
Weight loss, just want to be able to run around with their kids or their grandkids.
So it's not like they have to be picking up a whole hundreds of kilos with a bar for that to be relevant. So moving forward from there, who inspires you?
My coach.
Yeah.
Definitely. Yeah.
Anyone else?
Tia Toomey.
Yeah. I was thinking as I was writing these questions out that she might be one of them.
Yeah.
And for those who don't know, a CrossFitter, well, the world's best CrossFitter and one of the best, what weight classification?
53.
Yeah. 53 kilo Commonwealth gold medalist now. So a crossover athlete competing at the absolute pinnacle in both weightlifting and CrossFit. So pretty impressive person. Anyone else you want to add to that list?
Did you want me to add you, Lynn?
No, you're good. You're good to go. Anything else that you wanted to touch on in regards to how you managed to fit in what you managed to fit in into your week? So if your clients are listening to this, what would you like your number one take-home message to be for them?
My number one is, if you want something, you have to find the time to do it. Yeah.
Finding the way.
Yeah.
Not finding the obstacle.
Don't keep finding the obstacles. Yeah. That's my biggest thing to all my clients.
And what's your favourite lift? So snatch or clean and jerk?
Snatch.
Yeah. And So PBs in both of the lifts, I guess, is probably something most people would want to know who are listening to this as well. A snatch?
75.
Clean and jerk?
88.
Impressive. Both well over body weight as well. What is your purpose? So one of the questions we like to ask in these episodes always is, what is your purpose? Why do you do what you do? That probably extends to your career and working with people as much as it does with your passion.
So you'd be surprised to know that I became a PT after I started weightlifting.
Really?
Yeah. So I think what drives me is that I want to be the best that I can.
Yeah.
Does that make sense? And I'm very competitive on myself.
Yeah.
So weightlifting to me is an awesome sport.
Yeah.
And it's challenging. So there's never no challenge in weightlifting.
Yeah. And do you find like there's no sugarcoating it either? Like in a competition, you're not, the performance is like, it's a numbers game, isn't it? You either come in and your preparation and how you're feeling on the day and how you cope with those nerves that you were talking about earlier. The result is a direct correlation to how you're coping with all of those things.
Yeah.
Training volume, time management.
So like New Zealand is a prime example of that. I couldn't have been more prepared for New Zealand.
Yeah.
And then things just didn't go the way I wanted them to on the night. So
More comp experience, do you think will fix that? Or like...
And Lester knows that my biggest thing is I need to mentally be nicer to myself.
Yeah.
Yeah.
After competition or within?
Within.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So regardless of the result afterwards, that's not really what this is about. This is during competition.
Yep.
Do you find you're better chasing somebody else in their performance? Like if you're going out and having to hit a number and beat somebody else, or is it more about your individual?
Yeah. Yeah.
So for me so far, this has been a sport more about, I'm not interested in what anyone else is doing. I'm worried about what I need to get and what the outcome I need to get. But say some people in a competitive environment, it's going to be all about, okay, I need to beat that person.
Yeah.
Where do you fall?
I'm it's me.
Yeah.
And most times I'm following myself anyway, but I never ever worry about who's around me and what they're going to hit, because to me that just brings on more nerves. So I'm just out there for myself. I need to better myself every time I go out there.
For sure. Next competition for you is?
May Masters, Oceania.
Oceania Masters, where I'm competing myself as well.
Yeah.
Then following that, so I think you're heading overseas after that, is that right?
Barcelona.
Yeah. So you've hit the numbers and everything. You already qualified for that, or it depends?
Already qualified.
Awesome. So the Barcelona. Now, what is that competition?
That is the World Championships.
Yep. And the next World Masters Games, that would be in another 3 years' time?
Yes. 2021.
Yep. And you're setting yourself towards that?
Yes.
You'll be in a different age category then? Yeah.
Going up.
Will that make things easier or harder, do you think?
I think it's easier, to be honest with you.
Yeah.
Yeah.
People might drop off. As they go.
I think I'm I've got a higher numbers than most.
Yeah.
Yeah.
In that age.
Without that.
bracket.
Yeah. Without trying to sound like.
Oh, well, yeah. Well, it is probably, there's probably less and less field, I guess, as you go up in those age categories.
Yeah.
So how are you looking for, say, May for the Australia Masters? Feeling confident?
Yep. Feeling good. Body's good. Numbers are good.
Yeah. And Barcelona?
I have no idea where I'm at for that.
Is it more about that trip to Barcelona? Yeah. And how many people are so far qualified from here that are heading over in your team?
How many?
Yeah, from TG Strength.
I think 6 of us.
Yeah, so there's a reasonably big contingent heading over. Awesome. That'll be a bit of an experience. And you're heading over for
2 weeks.
2 weeks, cool.
Yeah.
Do you know the itinerary of that 2 weeks? Is the competition right at the end?
Yeah, it's right at the end. So I think we need to fill in the first 2 weeks. So we haven't done that.
I'm sure you'll be able to do that.
That'll be the easy part.
Now, if people are in Pakenham or the surrounding areas and they want to work with you, they don't want to just come and work on their weightlifting, they want to work on anything, what type of people would you love to see come through your doors?
I love people that, that actually want it. So they just want an everyday fit body.
Yeah.
Yeah. But they're actually coming because they actually want it. That's probably one of the things that I find the most, is that people want it, but when it comes down to it, they don't actually want to do the work for it. Yeah.
Yeah. And you're taking on new clients?
Yeah.
Awesome.
Any day of the week.
Any day of the week.
Yeah.
So to get in touch with you, what would be the best? Would Instagram, Facebook be best? Facebook. So at Grinchfin on Facebook. If you're interested in knowing more about Lynda, jump on Facebook, send her a message. She'd love to hear from you. Anything else that you want to add, Lynda?
I don't think so. We're actually excited about a seminar I'm running with a nutritionist and a healing coach in September.
Whereabouts?
It will be in Pakenham.
Yeah.
But it's going to be amazing.
And they can get in touch with you for details.
Yeah, for that will be a whole body thing. That will be that program.
Awesome.
So mind, body, nutrition.
Awesome. And you'll be hopefully an Australian.
Yeah, maybe I'll have some more.
Some more medallions to
put
take
on the
with
wall.
you. There you go. Well, thank you for your time, Lynda. Once again, get in touch with her if you're wanting to know more about Lynda or wanting to train with Lynda or to attend her seminar in September. And thank you for listening.
Thanks for having me.
We hope you enjoyed Your Revolution podcast. Don't forget to head to revopt.com.au/podcast to access this episode's exclusive content. Once again, that's revopt.com.au/podcast. Thanks for listening.